Okay, now, so we're going to look at dimensional analysis and look at some examples. And what we're really doing in dimensional analysis is we're converting from one type of unit to another type of unit. And so you can see the work here, so I'll go through this real quick. One thing we do need to know is in these examples, when we look at these fractions, since 3 feet is equal to 1 yard, we can write a fraction like this here. 3 feet divided by 1 yard equals 1. We could also say 1 yard divided by 3 feet equals 1. And then you can see this example here. So we're going to use this type of representations to solve some of these problems. And what we need is these conversion factors, these equivalent relationships. 3 feet equals 1 yard, or 1 yard equals 3 feet. In this specific case, to convert 300 feet to yards. And so what we do is we start with the given information, 300 feet, and then over 1 to write it as a fraction. And if we multiply that by 1 yard over 3 feet, notice what we do. Top times top is 300, bottom times bottom is 3. And so then we get 300 feet equals 100 yards. The key in this is when we do a dimensional analysis, we want the units to cancel, the top cancel with the bottom. And so I wouldn't have written 3 feet over 1 yard because then the feet would have been on the top. So I wouldn't have written that. So that's a bad, that would have been a bad way to solve that problem. What do I mean by that again? Just to show you, I'm going to write it in a different color. This is not good. I'm going to write it and cross it out. So on this problem here, let's go with black here. On this problem, I would say do not do this, right? Which I wouldn't have done 300 feet over 1 times 3 feet over 1 yard. See, this still equals 1, but the problem is I cannot cancel out. What happens is I cannot cancel out. The feet are on the top, so I can't do that cancellation that we do when we have fractions. So this here is not the right way to do it. Okay, let's go ahead and do another example here. 30 ounces is how many grams? Well, we need conversion factors. They're in red over here. 16 ounces is 1 pound. 453.6 grams is 1 pound. And so what we do is we start with the given 30 ounces over 1. We're going to get a fraction. And then we multiply by some conversion factor. Well, I have ounces, so I'm looking at this one here. 1 pound is 16 ounces. Notice top cancels with the bottom. That's why I write it in that manner. Times, since now the ounces are gone, I have the pounds left, and then we multiply by the other conversion factor. You just have to decide what goes on top, what goes on the bottom. And then you just multiply the numbers along the top, the numbers along the bottom, and then you end up with doing that. You have the units or dimensions, and then you divide, and then you'd end up with how many grams. If you need some more examples, there's a link here. Take a look and use that link to go look at some more examples of dimensional analysis. You're provided with this list on an exam at home, or when you do the exam face to face. I'll give you these are called conversion factors. 12 inches is 1 foot, 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So you need some of this to do your homework. Or you will need these to complete your homework problems as you do some conversions. And so looking at one other type of problem is when you are given a rate instead of just a number. So let's take a look at these examples here. I'll leave these up here so we can see them. And so here's an example of a river flows 200 cubic meters per hour. So here's your 200 cubic meters per hour. Here are the conversion factors that you need. And then we use those as we multiply. And again, you're always canceling a top with a bottom. And in the end, you want to end up with the units you need. I'm trying to get to gallons per second. And so that's what you see over here, the gallons per second. Again, as you march your way down the path, as you look, as you cancel them. You're always got to decide what are my conversion factors, and then you're going to multiply a fraction times a fraction times a fraction until all your units cancel and you're left with the units you want. If you don't do this in the right order, then you will get a different set of units there. And so I'll leave that one there. And then here's another example here as we're looking at these here. Take a look at those. Now you were able to look at that example 3. Let's finish these on the bottom here, this problem situation. I'm converting, I get to this end, 70 inches times how many centimeters per inch we have. And so again, notice what's going to cancel out here. I'll show you. We have the top inches cancels with inches, centimeters with centimeters, and notice we're left with meters at the end. And then we would have that calculation there. As you top times top times top, bottom times bottom times bottom, and then you got to do 177.8 divided by 100. And so then that turns out to be 1.778 meters. And then you have this one on the bottom, convert 180 pounds into kilograms. You only have one conversion factor to worry about, and then you will see that those cancel out, pounds with pounds. And then you have to do that last division there, 180 divided by 2.2, and that equals 81.81 kilograms. And so that's it for dimensional analysis. Well, at least it's kind of an introduction for you. Then you have the prep work, and you can also take a look at some of those other links that we have up on top.